Good afternoon. I'm Ted Snyder, Dean of Chicago Booth. Welcome to the 54th Annual Business Forecast Luncheon here in Chicago. It's great to have all of you here. A year ago, we were entering what has now been termed the Great Recession. At last year's event, you may recall that Eric Hurst made his take it to the bank prediction that real U.S. housing prices would fall another 15 to 20% in the next 5 years, with most of that happening in the next year or two. In August, the National Association of Realtors reported that the median home price fell a record 15.6% during the 3 months ending June 30th, compared to the same period in 2008. Take it to the bank, Eric. Mike Musa, senior fellow at the Peterson Institute and former Chicago faculty member, and also a PhD grad from Chicago, made another prediction that the unemployment rate, which stood at around 7% at the time, would continue to rise through 2009, topping at least 8%. As we know, the Bureau of Labor Statistics' latest survey indicated that the unemployment rate is now at 10.2%. A third major prediction came from Marvin Zonas. Quote, Chicago will succeed in winning the 2016 Olympic bid because of the massive increase in the esteem in which the United States is held for having elected Barack Obama. Marvin, I was right there with you. So now, like you, I have questions about the economic outlook for 2010. Is the Great Recession really over? What are the distinguishing features of the Great Recession? And with the Dubai aftershock, is that the beginning of a big downturn in commercial real estate prices and more financial system problems? And will the dollar be the world's reserve currency 5 or 10 years from now? All such questions will be subject to the Chicago approach, using discipline-based knowledge, focusing on empirical evidence, and trusting that good decisions follow from good analysis. It's now the point in my remarks when I turn to school matters, either with an update or when I put some kind of ask in front of you. I'll put some kind of ask in front of you. Career services. If you open your report on the school, in addition to being disciplined in terms of knowledge, we're disciplined in other ways. It just so happens that if you open it to the middle, it focuses on career services and career support. And if you don't look at any other page, you should look at that centerfold page. This has been the focus of the school in terms of making sure that we support our students and alumni for the last 9 years. And we need very much to stay focused on supporting our students and alumni this year. So how can you help? Mentoring, job leads, also telling us where we think we should be developing relationships with companies here in the United States and also around the world. For those of you who like number one rankings, and we've had several in the last few years, of note, every number one ranking that Chicago Booth has had, we've had the top rank in career services for our students. Okay? So these things go together, 100% correlation. The other ask, annual fund support. How many people here voted for either of the major candidates in the last presidential election? I assume a lot of people did. There's some people who say voting is irrational. There's some people who say giving to the annual fund is irrational. I would say neither proposition is right. It's a lot of fun to join the annual fund. This is a business force. Your gift of $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000, and I'm somewhere in that range, can really help out the school. Nobody's going to match David Booth. But after all, he gave the biggest gift in business school history. Nobody is going to match him, at least not for a while, I don't think. But David's intention was to give a necessary gift, not the sufficient support to get us to where we want to be. So in my first year as dean, the school was at 10th in terms of endowment among business schools around the world. Over the years, we moved to 7th, and with the Booth gift, I'm not sure where we stand now, but it's somewhere ahead of that. But I think we should all agree that 7th or 5th is not where we want to be. So annual fund support allows us to do things that other schools did not do during this past year. One specific thing. When other schools were cutting back, we added 4 new positions, permanent positions around the world in career services to support our students and alumni. That's why you should support the school when it comes to the annual fund. All right, that's where my 2 asks are, career support and annual fund. For those of you who've been tuning in, no surprises on either front.